It's been a while since I've made a Hunter x Hunter video. It would be really nice if there were some new chapters to review. Maybe someday. Togashi, we miss you, man. But recently I've been thinking of, as I often do, what an endlessly fascinating character Hisoka is and why he tends to stand out as not just a favorite Hunter x Hunter character for many fans, but one of the most talked about characters in shonen. Now, because I am a strange, twisted individual myself, I have already deep dived into exploring Hisoka's sexuality and what it's actually all about, and you can find that video linked below. Yes, I really made this video. I went into actual psychological terms for his pleasures and what it associates to in real life, and yeah, man, I don't know, I was feeling really weird at the time. Anyway, it's an older video, so I apologize for the poor sound and production quality, but I still find it to be incredibly fascinating, so please go ahead and check that video out also down below. Even the realization that one of Hisoka's sexual kinks relates heavily to arousal around the atmosphere of fighting, which could be called a gonophilia. You know, like a gon-ophilia. Yeah, you can't make this shit up. Now, it's not uncommon for people to generally be drawn towards villains and antagonists in stories. In fact, more often than not, people will generally find the villain to be more interesting than the hero, and this is for several reasons, but usually the main one is a feeling of liberation in enacting a fantasy that one could never really do in actual life. We all have a darker side, a shadow self, and these dark thoughts lead us down a rabbit hole within our own minds of wanting to enact some sort of power or vengeance or hurtful intentions towards another. But we don't do it because either our conscious, fear of punishment, or just empathy for others. But watching or reading a villain in a story be able to subside their reason and act out of pure selfishness gives the observer a sense of catharsis in a strange way. It doesn't mean you are secretly an evil person, but it gives you a sense of liberation to see someone else able to take matters into their own hand and proactively go to get what they want by any means necessary. If we were to meet someone like Hisoka in real life, we would be absolutely terrified and disgusted to be around him. I mean, imagine some tall, flamboyant dude dressed like Jeffree Star popping boners and trying to fight you, who enjoys the process of beating you down and ultimately probably killing you. Okay, there are probably some people out there that would still be into that, but it's much less likely than in a fictional story. Hisoka plays such an interesting role in the story because he is never presented as a primary antagonist, but always like a Joker card ready to intervene in whatever's going on. His presence in the Hunter exam arc is almost like a cautionary warning for Gon and the others as to what lurks out there in the world for the Hunters. As if ascending to this level means more encounters with the unknown, and the mystery behind Hisoka acts sort of like a warning for them. We know he's incredibly strong, and we know that he has an interest in the main characters, but he's kept enough at a distance that we don't truly know the man behind the persona yet. The Heaven's Arena arc is perhaps the only portion of the series where you could make an argument that Hisoka is the main antagonist, but he's much more serves as a personal obstacle for Gon to overcome. There's no way that Gon can defeat Hisoka, but it's about whether or not Gon has reached a level where he could even hit him. And as for Hisoka, well, Hisoka is someone who values his battles and his kills. He likes to enjoy them, and seeing the potential for a challenge in someone else makes him want to keep that person around and actively allow them to get stronger. Hisoka is essentially obsessed with the idea of a good kill, but to do so he wants his opponents to be at their best so that he can absolutely dominate them in every way when they eventually do fight. He is addicted and lives his life this way, knowing no end until perhaps his eventual death. We don't know what prompted this obsession, but it's much like being addicted to a drug. You have a taste and then you need more and more to keep you satisfied. And as we all know, Hisoka's obsession is physically released as he gets sexually turned on during the acts of fighting. So this is a real thing and does exist, even though I'm pretty sure it's not that common, and I think it's important to note that Hisoka is not sexually attracted to Gon, he's attracted to the prospect of fighting and killing Gon. I know there's a lot of memes about Hisoka, but Gon's age really doesn't play into this. In fact, I doubt Hisoka has any sexual intercourse in any way. More than likely, he just jizzes in his pants during a fight. But anyway. When Hisoka is not actively hunting someone down or assumingly training, he is probably just spending the majority of his time at Heaven's Arena, using their rooms as his place of lodging and meeting all kinds of new opponents. But once he has his eyes set on one, Hisoka is incredibly forward-thinking, strategic, and even more terrifyingly, very patient. The York New City arc shows us that Hisoka is part of the legendary Phantom Troupe, criminals all well-versed in special abilities and nen that do what they want when they want and take what they want. They will even challenge dozens of mafia gangs without even a second thought. First of all, it shows Hisoka's abilities to even make it into the troupe, but also for him, it was all a ruse to get closer to their leader, Crollo, and be able to fight him, to test his abilities against him and gain that physical pleasure out of the battle itself. The thing I love about York New as well is that Hisoka displays his highest level of intelligence playing the Phantom Troupe and Kurapika to manipulate his way to a one-on-one battle with Crollo. Of course, Hisoka gets the biggest case of blue balls in this situation. Greed Island showcases how far Hisoka will go to get his needs met, actively searching out a nen exorcist to restore Crollo's nen just so that he can fight him. It's great because Hisoka gives no shits about the Greed Island game or playing it, and he's just using the time for fun until his goal is reached. He agrees to help Gon and Killua in their life or death dodgeball match, literally just to pass the time. And once again, Hisoka is not an antagonist in the traditional sense. He doesn't want to kill Gon without a fight or until Gon reaches his potential. Until that time, he can feel perfectly fine helping Gon if he wants to. He's not trying to destroy the world or take anything over or cause any overt damage. Hisoka acts completely independently and selfishly. Also, without his direct involvement, the dodgeball match would not have been won. Once again, showcasing that he is one of the most powerful characters in the Hunter x Hunter series. Now, it was a shame that Hisoka was left out of the Chimera Ant arc. Many fans have speculated how he would have acted if he encountered the ants. I mostly think that he would have enjoyed the prospect of fighting them had he known how strong they were, but I also think the Royal Guards, perhaps, and especially Meruem, could have killed him pretty quickly. But overall, I'd be curious to see his reactions to them. In the election arc, Hisoka makes his triumphant return, working alongside Illumi to try to help him obtain Alika. But even during this arrangement, Hisoka plotted ideas even against Illumi, whom seemed to be the only character in the story that you could call Hisoka's friend, or at least the closest he gets to having a friend anyway. But again, for Hisoka, it's all strategic. Mutual benefits are good, but twisting the knife, antagonizing them, and eventually facing them as an opponent is even better. Lastly, and this is spoiler territory for any anime only, sorry about that, in the manga, Hisoka finally has his bout with Crollo in the beginning of the Succession War arc, and it absolutely takes the cake as living up to all of its expectations and even exceeding them. You have Hisoka for the first time actually on the ropes, using only his bungee gum and strategy against Crollo's multiple nen abilities. It's very cool to see Hisoka actually getting so damaged and beat up because, well, we never really have seen that before. Hisoka's matchups so far in the series always had him as the more dominant one. But again, relating fighting to sex, this is the first time Hisoka was the bottom, and he did not like this. In fact, this defeat has changed Hisoka's motivations quite a bit. Without getting too detailed in this video explaining the entire storyline, Hisoka essentially dies via explosion, but commanded his bungee gum to pump his heart in case of this, which does and resuscitates him. But now, having experienced a humiliating loss, Hisoka has decided to throw his patience away, and instead of a good fight, now he just wants to act upon his bloodlust, vowing to kill every member of the Phantom Troupe, and already beginning to do so. So where the manga has left Hisoka is so interesting for his character because we've never seen this side of him before, not really, not to this extent. This is perhaps assumingly his first fight that Hisoka has lost so bad, and he did not take it that well. Assumingly, Hisoka is aboard the ship heading to the Dark Continent, but we have yet to see him make an appearance since then. So what else can we say about Hisoka? We love his aesthetic, we love his conniving, manipulative nature, we love that bungee gum has the properties of both rubber and gum, and we love how he can take any arc in Hunter x Hunter and take it to that next level of the extreme. Oh, and we love those boners. Hisoka is nearly my favorite character from Hunter x Hunter. It's really hard to pick a favorite. It goes back and forth for me between Hisoka, Killua, and Meruem. But either way, Togashi is an absolute legend for creating so many wonderful characters, and I hope the manga does continue someday, but even if it doesn't, we will always remember how fascinated and terrified we were of Hisoka Maru. Thanks for watching this video, you guys. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment because it does help out in the algorithm. Also subscribe if you would like to stick around and see more content, and check out the links below for my merch store, Patreon, and various social media links where you can follow me. Other than that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time.